and associate with them and remain always in connection with Him by serving His instructions. And this should be our special source of inspiration and strength. I pray for all of you regularly when I am in front of the deities. Hope this finds all of you in good health and blissful Krishna consciousness. Yours in service, Jayapataka Swami.
Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavari Paschati Desatarine Namo Om Vishnu Padaya.
I'm trying to hold my breath, let it stay this way. Can't let this moment end. You set off a dream in me, getting louder now. Can you hear it echoing?
Daya, breaking out of an egg is painful. And we heard just now Jayapataka Swami. He was a bhakta with Gopal Krishna Goswami in Montreal. Now, in the early days, of course, we started one temple, then 2 temples, then 3 temples. By 1970, we had about 15 temples around the world. And we all knew each other just by Back to Godhead magazine, seeing each other's pictures. Hong Kong, Germany, France, New York. So in America, there was one young, very qualified lady. She was ready to marry. She wanted to have her Swayamvar. And she put so many conditions, had to have this much money, job, house, this, that, other thing. Absolutely no one was qualified in all of America. All the temple presidents wanted to marry her. Nobody could match her. There was only one person in all of ISKCON who was qualified to marry this wonderful girl. That was how we first heard about Gopal Krishna. No, that was the beginning of all the suffering. We have to remember why we're in the material world. You can have everything. Best wife, beautiful home, good job, lots of money, the most beautiful son who Prabhupada named Durlabh. He was such a beautiful son. Everything he had, nothing but misery. And this, because we were all in the nest together, all packed up. He had to come to New York to live because that was where she insisted her husband had to live. All packed up in New York together, watching each other struggle. And oh, how he struggled. So we watched and watched. And being the only Indian there, we had only one other Indian at that time, Sunita. So he would guard us. Some Indians would come as charades. I'm a doctor. I want to become the temple president. Gopal Krishna saw right through him, wrote to Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, "Show me your diploma." And then the man ran away. So Gopal Krishna, he was our guardian there in New York. And despite all of his responsibilities, we never knew what type of job he had, but we knew it was very important because it was supporting the temple. Still at night, after his work, he would come to the bowels of the Port Authority bus terminal to distribute books after his work was over. And that was where we made our bond, there in the basement and the lines of the passengers trying to distribute books to them together. So we had this firm bond of book distribution from that time. Then he found another charade. Mrs. Toyota went to Prabhupada. Prabhupada had them all flushed out. Gopal Krishna hit Maharaj, of course. Then he was Gopal Krishna. He knew right from wrong. He knew everything. And he had direct connection with Srila Prabhupada to protect us all. So he came to India. I fled to India because they were going to kill me. I caught them bringing meat into the temple. I fled here. Here was Gopal Krishna also. Prabhupada had just made him, as we just heard from Lokanath Swami. He had, after 4 tries of different GBCs who ran away, 4 tries, he said, now you be the GBC of all of India. And then we all felt safe. So, serving under Gopal Krishna Maharaj since 1970, trying to assist him. Whenever Prabhupada would send me a message, it would always be through Gopal Krishna Maharaj. He would tell me, Prabhupada just told me to tell you, you're not allowed to. She's not a pure devotee. To tell you, now that he's going away, every week you have to clean his house. So in this way, I learned always my instructions were coming from Prabhupada through Gopal Krishna Maharaj. And I grew up that way all these years now, for the past 50 years, just waiting for him to give me instructions from Srila Prabhupada. Always our line has been pure book distribution. He would only allow me to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books in our shops. At least that was in theory. Now we have non-BBT books as well. But our whole purpose in serving Srila Prabhupada was to assist him. I always felt great security serving under him. I'm praying that in the future also, I will always be able to serve under him as my via media to Srila Prabhupada, because I would see Srila Prabhupada all alone, bringing in his milk at night, and there would be Gopal Krishna. Just he and Prabhupada discussing so many things, how to develop India, how to develop the world, how to develop Russia, the book distribution, printing, everything coming through this one person. And I'm so grateful to all of you, his disciples. You become just as determined as he was to serve Srila Prabhupada and carry out all of his dreams to make the whole world Krishna conscious. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jai.
Thank you, Mataji. We'd like to call upon His Holiness Guru Prasad Swami Maharaj to be the next speaker.
Hare Krishna. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namah. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyate Deshatarine Srila Gopal Krishna Maharaj Ki Jai. So unlike many devotees who have spoken and will be speaking, I had very little association with Gopal Krishna Maharaj. Basically, my association was in the GBC meetings. I would see him. Of course, I knew him from quite a long time back, but I never really work together with him in any project but one thing I would always do, because I was very impressed by how many nice temples they were in Delhi. So every time before I would come to Vrindavan, anytime I would come in this area, I would stay for 3-4 days, and he would always invite me for lunch. And he said, "I'm very happy you're coming, because no GBCs, they don't come here, very rarely. They all go to Vrindavan. No, they don't come here." So he said he was grateful. So I continued to come, and always spending it, not out of any real duty to him, but just the pleasure of being able to be in one place and being able to preach in a different place every day. A very unique situation that he created, that practically speaking, of course there are many places here in India where we have many projects, but not where you can be in one place and go to another big temple and another big temple, another big, every day, and give a class in a different place. So I very much appreciated all of his hard work. And a good friend of mine from many years ago, Bahudak Prabhu, so he had some disagreements with the local yatra in Canada. I found out, so we were friends. I invited him to come and travel with me. And so we were traveling around Mexico, and one day he said, "Maharaj, I see you're working very hard." He said, "But nobody works as hard as Gopal Krishna Maharaj." No. And so I thought, wow, that's interesting. So anyway, as time went by, I would see him in GBC meetings, and he wouldn't speak all that much. He generally would speak a little something about one subject matter or another. But I always saw him grossly absorbed in, except for one thing, BBT or book distribution. Then he would speak very much. Any matter with book distribution or with printing of books. And little by little, other BBT directors that I knew or BBT trustees, they told me about his unswerving dedication to making sure all the books were printed in all the necessary languages here in India, and always very concerned about having Srila Prabhupada's books. But still, I didn't have that much association. Then about 2 years ago, because his physical condition was not so good, so one day he spoke to me. Well, he wrote a letter. So a couple of God brothers had written to him saying, "Maharaj, your physical condition is not good. You can't go to many places. Maybe you should think of somebody to be your co-GBC." So then one day he called me. I was in Delhi, and he called me, and he said, "So Maharaj, I think you could be co-GBC with me." And I said, "Well, I have the biggest zone in Latin America, very many, very demanding." He said, "No, I don't want to take you away from anything." He said, "But I need someone to help me." And he said, one thing he said, "I don't think you have any ambition." Of course, I think I have much ambition, but he said that. So I thought about it, and of course, I considered it to be an honor that such a senior God brother and such a loyal servant of Srila Prabhupada would ask me to work with him. But then, so I thought about it, and I started discussing with different things with him. Not very often. We weren't that very often. It would be one time for a few hours. Then the next time I came, it would be for a few more hours. And each time he spoke a little more deeply. But then I began to realize, for the first time, how much, how he did everything exactly like Srila Prabhupada wanted. I'd never have met anyone after I got to know him better who he had no personal program. There was zero personal program. His program was Srila Prabhupada. Whatever Srila Prabhupada wanted. And that's what convinced me. Because I thought, how am I going to do this? I said, what's the minimum amount of time you think I need to spend here? And he said, well, minimum 4 months, better 5 or 6 months. And I said, well, I'll see, He said, but, he said, don't let it affect your zone in any way. So then I said, well, maybe we can help my zone. And he said, oh, you mean with money? I said, well, it's the poorest zone in the world. He said, well, we'll talk about that. We never talked about it, no. So that was one thing. Whenever it came to diverting money from some project that he had, because he had so many things in mind. Srila Prabhupada told him to do so many things, and especially above everything else, Kurukshetra. He had that, and he spoke to me so much about Kurukshetra. We made some little arrangement to help Kurukshetra, and would also help my zone a little bit. And then I thought, even if it's a difficult thing, someone who is so surrendered to doing everything as Srila Prabhupada wanted, and so humble. I never realized how humble he was. I mean, I always saw him as a humble person, but how humble he was until I began to get to know him better. And then we spoke about a few things, how the zone should go on, and my appreciation for how hard he was working, how much he would sacrifice his time, his energy, never thinking about himself, never even thinking about his physical condition, just thinking about, I have to do these things for Srila Prabhupada. And as I mentioned today in our Bhagavatam class, that after he had departed, I saw this one video clip where they were showing it. This was just a few weeks after his departure, when I had come back, and he turned around, he was crying, and he said, Prabhupada has done so much, and he was, he didn't say it, but you could see he was thinking, I have not done anything, but he had done so much, And when I saw that especially, I thought, such a dedicated servant of Srila Prabhupada. So anyway, I could not understand why he would want me to work with him. So many other capable devotees, not other capable, meaning so many capable devotees. And I felt myself, what am I going to do? How will I help? But somehow or another, I ended up with some of his responsibility. And this was just one part. He had Canada, Russia, Myanmar, Pakistan, and so many places. Even just a few weeks ago, I discovered some of the places that I'm GBC of that I didn't even know. He was so many places he was in charge of. So anyway, it was just my appreciation for him, as unfortunately, in many, many cases, we appreciate someone more and more after they're no longer with us. But that was, of course, especially in my case, because we were never working closely together anywhere in the world. But I do remember one thing in 1980. In 1980, many people were complaining that there's only a few people initiating, more people need to initiate. And so somehow or another, I was in the meeting, in a GBC meeting. I don't know why, I can't even remember why they asked me to come to that meeting, but they were thinking about other people. And there was some concern that, because that we called the days of the zonal acharya. So there was some concern that if we name some new people, what will be their area, And so I remember they mentioned his name, and some devotee said, "Oh, it's no problem. No problem, because he's not ambitious." They said that. I thought that it really impressed me. That he was the first one that was approved of the first. There was 3 or 4 people that were approved that year, just because everybody saw his humility and his willingness to do something. He didn't even really want to do it, but he accepted that duty, and he had such a great responsibility. And actually, there was no one that was initiating so many people except for Jayapataka Maharaj in India. And so it was a great need. And anyway, I just remember that. And the only thing I can say is that, there's no way that myself or someone else or a combination can fill his sandals. Otherwise, we can't equal him in any way. But I can just try my best to serve to my best ability. And the one thing that has made it possible to even be here and do this service is that he organized everything so nicely, and he trained his leaders and the devotees so nicely that otherwise it would have been totally impossible. But because of that, because of all his hard work, because of all his sacrifice, because of his example, and because of his being free from any desire other than serving Srila Prabhupada, I have found it possible to be able to try to do something, being in one part of his shadow, that he has left behind. So, Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, thank you very much for all your wonderful contribution to Srila Prabhupada's movement. And I thank all of you, his faithful servants, friends, associates, for helping him to carry on Srila Prabhupada's legacy. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for accepting that offer from our Guru Maharaj to be co-GBC in these zones. Yes, I remember last year when Maharaj departed, and Guru Prasad asked me, because I was going to America, to go to Mexico City, because that is still his zone. It's like exchange, because he spent so much time in India, more than any foreign GPs. Thank you, Maharaj. We'd like to call upon and request Panchagoda Prabhu to speak. And then it will be Dina Bandhu Prabhu. Then Shruta Kirti Prabhu. Then from the Mataji side, I will ask Mahadevi Mataji.
एक हल्का सा हेलो, एक हाय हो प्यारा, उस पल में तुम मैं और जहां सारा, छोड़ दो बाकी सब बातें, कह दो मौला से जो हमें आते.
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatra Deshatarane Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj Ki. Well, Guru Prasad Maharaj and Lokanath Maharaj said so much. Everything I thought about saying. Again, when I came with my family in '93, Gopal Krishna Maharaj asked me, he knew I was a book distributor, also had some management in Florida. So he said, you stay here, you help Kadambakana Maharaj with the management. I was thinking Vrindavan, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, chanting and dancing, retire, be happy. But he was very determined, and so I thank him very much for engaging me in service. That was back in '93. Also, I saw whenever when Maharaj would visit Vrindavan, he spent some time discussing. It's late, he's doing his puja, and I figured now he's going to rest, but the whole outside is lined up with disciples ready to see him, and not looking out for any discomfort, always very caring in a personable way for all his disciples. You can see by all the leaders he's created, this Krishna Shakti Vinana Hetara Pravartanat, he was definitely empowered, like the Shakti Vaishavatar. No one can preach or spread the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu the way he did. And I've noticed even in intense meetings or sometimes very emotional meetings, he always kept his cool. He was always very conscientious, Vaishnava etiquette, but very dedicated, extremely dedicated to Prabhupada and Prabhupada's mission. Then again, after some time, he requested back in, 2009, that I take more responsibility here. So last 15, 16 years working with Maharaj as the temple president here in Vrindavan. And he very much, although I'm sure he's eager for Kurukshetra, and we all are, but Vrindavan also was a big concern for Maharaj. He wanted that everything be managed nicely, and the book distribution be strong. Everything should be in detail, neat and clean. So I'm very much appreciating the devotees' efforts and how much dedication by Maharaj's influence and how much love for someone to move another person to be excited and enthusiastic and energetic for spreading Krishna consciousness. He himself has to have that power. When I heard that lecture, Maharaj was very animated and very, very to the point, very clear. So I see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sending Gopal Krishna Maharaj in the early days and assisting Srila Prabhupada in his mission of spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world. And all the temples are growing and manifesting, just like Prabhupada was always remembering his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, giving all credit to his Guru Maharaj for any success or achievement. So in the same way Gopal Krishna Maharaj is recognizing, is by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, that he is being empowered to empower others who are sincerely trying to help spread Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. So I thank Maharaj Gopal Krishna Maharaj for dragging me to India, and he was very instrumental to give us an opportunity to serve here in Vrindavan Dham and meet so many wonderful Vaishnavas and have an opportunity to all chant, dance together, and feast together. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj Ki. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Panchaguru. Is that words spoken? Was that short, concisely? It's true eloquence. Panchaguru Prabhu, thank you. Dinabandhu Prabhu, thank you.
Ganti pin. Love, poro. Love.
Dwadasi day, in the month of Chaitra, I guess. Or maybe this is Vyasa now, huh? The day that our very, very dear godbrother, Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, returned to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and Sri Krishna Balaram. So, as everyone said, this was such a huge loss for ISKCON because everybody is told that it's just unimaginable. I'm totally in awe at the service that Gopal Krishna Maharaj has done in this world. And they say that you can tell a tree by its fruits. And here, I'm sitting here, I thought we made this hall so big. But I see there's so many fruits just from Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, and so many bright faces are here. So I have no doubt. We're always wondering, what will happen. But you're all here to carry on and take example from. We all need to take example from Gopal Krishna Maharaj. As everybody has been saying, he was completely dedicated to fulfilling desire of Srila Prabhupada, no separate desire whatsoever. And he was so interested in